good morning or good afternoon, as the case may be. This is Professor Kent Lee, your professor for High Intermediate English Conversation, Intermediate 2. Welcome to my class. And yes, this is going to be online, as you know, and that's not really the best way to have a conversation class or a language class, but it is what it is. These are kind of tough times. So I'm going to talk about general course policies in the syllabus, the 강의 계획. You should have that in the LMS and on the portal. The portal is sometimes a little hard for me to work with in terms of uploading the syllabus documents. So it gets imported into the LMS and may just say, please see the PDF version. I'll see if I can fix that or improve that. I do have a syllabus that's in PDF, and the most current version I will post in the LMS, especially as I might update it a little bit. Maybe I've just updated it a little bit, and I might update it a little more, and that will be posted in the syllabus in the LMS. So let's talk about the course policies in the syllabus. So when you see the section times, some of the afternoon times, some of them are a little bit odd or funny, kind of weird different times on some days for some classes, for some sections, and it's because of the availability of classrooms. It's a little kind of hard. So you see my office hour, my emails here for normal things. Probably Gmail is what I usually use, and you can, if it's just turning in an assignment, you can do that +H thing. That's a little trick for a Gmail inbox to send it to a box or folder in my Gmail for this class. If you really need to contact me, it's probably best if you send an email to at least 2 of my email addresses. I usually check Gmail most often, and secondly my Bugyeongdae email, and sometimes my Naver mail, but my Naver mail gets full of spam too. But I try to check that if it's important. So I also have a course website which I might use sometimes. At least I'll put up links to assignments and some materials there in the course website. So the course description, well, this is about more kind of academic English. This is intermediate, so it's not going to be heavy academic English. We'll do some academic, some kind of more semi-formal. So not too formal, but semi. Semi is half or halfway or partially semi-formal English in this class. Bit more of an EAP or English for academic purposes course. And I'm also going to throw in a little linguistics stuff too, because I'm kind of a linguist. Course materials, again, mainly the website and a course booklet. I'll have a course booklet. I'm going to make it available free as a PDF. In a normal semester, if we had live classes, I would have it at a print shop for you. But since you're probably just staying home, and some of you are in maybe away from Busan most of the time, I'm going to make it a free PDF for you, and I don't suggest that you print it out all at once. Maybe print parts of it off as you need it for a given week, because I might change some things and re-upload it. The link will be posted in the LMS. I don't know if I'll put it on the website because I don't want everybody to just get it and use it outside of Bugyeongdae. So there is a free course book, and the link will be made available very soon. So be sure to get that as soon as possible. Probably best not to print it out. Just look at the PDF version on your computer or your tablet. Let's see, second page of the syllabus, kind of a course outline. Course medium. Let's talk about the format. So as far as we know, the whole semester is going to be online. That's our assumption. Most of the class sessions will be through Zoom. So this first session today is a pre-recorded lecture, and sometimes I will do pre-recorded lectures. More often I'm going to use Zoom, maybe starting next time. Maybe next class we'll do it in Zoom. I'll post a link to the Zoom meeting on the LMS soon. Probably for those 2 days before Chuseok starts, I'm assuming you're not going to be here and not going to be available for the class, so I'll probably put up pre-recorded lectures for certain things like the Chuseok break, maybe the student festival, I think in October, maybe for that, maybe sometimes during some weeks, such. So here's kind of an overview. The schedule here is kind of an overview. We're going to talk this week maybe about language learning strategies and your English learning a little bit. And again, we'll probably start this maybe next time. And in the Zoom, I'll probably very often put you into breakout rooms in Zoom, those group rooms, and have you talk. I'll give you some time in the class to talk about something, and I might make some of those discussion topics a minor assignment. So talk about minor assignments. We have in this class in the grading, part of your grade is from attendance and participation. I mainly grade the attendance. I'll talk about the attendance grading in a little bit. Minor assignments. So we'll have a number of minor assignments. These are kind of daily or weekly assignments. Sometimes I'll ask you to fill out something in a Google form, an online survey or questionnaire. This first week, for example, I'm going to ask you to fill out a little Google form. It's just going to be a few kind of survey questions. I'm going to collect some contact information from you. I want probably 2 email addresses, so that I can contact you, especially when I need to give you feedback on major assignments, like the midterm and final. I want to give you feedback or grade information. And I want 2 email addresses. Sometimes Gmail and Korean email servers have problems talking to each other. I think it's partly a problem with Gmail, and it's partly a problem with some Korean email servers. They don't talk to each other, or international email servers and Korean email servers. So sometimes emails get lost. So redundancy is good. I will ask 2 emails from you, and if you need to ask me something by email, if it's really important or really important assignment you need to mail in, send it to 2 of my email addresses. So anyway, the first week I'll have you do a Google form assignment, and maybe another one later on. And then another kind of minor assignment is I'll give you like discussion topics in class for Zoom breakout rooms, and I think Zoom will probably just randomly assign you to a group of 4 or 5 people and discuss something. Then what I want you to do later, maybe after class, is you can use that as practice, and then record yourselves talking to each other. You can record it. You can record each other, I guess, I don't know if it's possible. We'll try. I might let you, I don't know if I have to do something in the Zoom settings to allow that, or if you can just record your own Zoom sessions. Have your own little Zoom session, your Zoom chat, and record your discussion with each other. Sometimes I might ask you to just record a video by yourself and you respond to a daily question, or more often I will prefer, since this is a conversation class, for you to talk to each other in maybe your own Zoom session and record it and then upload it to the LMS and turn it in that way. So when you do that, maybe you all can make a recording, and then each of you can upload it. Even if it's like 4 or 5 people in your group, it's probably best if you each upload it to the LMS, the assignment space in the LMS, because sometimes people have trouble uploading their video assignments to the LMS, and I don't know why, but some people have problems. It seems to be a little buggy sometimes, so it's best if all of you upload your own video individually, just to make sure the LMS got something from you. If you have trouble, just type something in the assignment space that I have trouble uploading this. And hopefully I get it from your teammates, your group mates. So midterm, you'll probably do a group presentation. Probably you can choose your own groups unless you want me to assign groups. In the past with live classes, I always let students choose their groups. If you want to, I don't know how well you know all the other students in the class, in this department. I prefer to let you choose your groups. We have about 4 or 5 people. Do midterm presentation and then also do a group final presentation where you all kind of present as a group. You can record it in your own separate apartments. That's fine, but put it together into one recorded video. This semester will be interesting. We'll be getting to learn more technology. So anyway, topics, we'll get into pronunciation next week, and this is not going to be quite the same as maybe some of the pronunciation I talked about in the spring course. Some of you might have had me in the spring. I'll cover some similar pronunciation topics and then some other stuff that we didn't cover last spring in my class. And then we're going to talk about media and genres. Now, I'm not a literature person or a film person. I'm a linguist, but as a linguist, I have a certain interest in films and different genres or types of media and literature and such. Although my life has always been busy and I've missed out on probably most of the good movies that have come out since I started, graduate school. So graduate school in the US system or postgraduate school in the UK system is your master's, saksa, and or PhD or paksa studies. So ever since I started my master's program, I didn't really have time to watch movies. Got addicted to crime shows like Law and Order and CSI, but movies, never had time for it. Then I started working, and then my son came along. Since then, I've not had time, but I do have an interest in this as a linguist, and I find it's helpful for discussing this. Most of you are English majors, and it's helpful to talk about this in a conversation class, kind of an intelligent conversation about media and film and other things. And other topics too. You can suggest other topics in the first Google form. We'll talk about other topics along the way, maybe current social issues and stuff, political issues. We'll also have you maybe do a midterm presentation where you will, I've got 2 ideas in mind for the midterm. What you're going to do as a group, and you'll kind of divide up the labor and the talking time as a group. I might ask you to do sort of a fake or pretend TV commercial or advertisement, or I might ask you to give a presentation about a particular genre of literature or film or TV. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, that's going to lead into the final, which we'll talk about in a minute. After the midterm, we'll talk about style issues, word choice issues, some pragmatics, that's kind of linguistics. That relates to conversation. Since this is a conversation class, I'm going to also talk a little bit about basic kind of linguistic principles of conversation and how linguists analyze conversation. That was kind of a sort of a side hobby of mine when I studied linguistics in graduate school. It wasn't my main focus, but it was something I did for a while as kind of a big hobby, and it's kind of interesting. My main area as a linguist are things like writing and text studies and grammar and phonology or the sound system of language, things like that, and the psychology of language too. Those are my main areas. But I have an interest in this other stuff. And we'll talk about making pitches. That's kind of like a presentation where you're trying to sell something to a group of people. Because your final presentation will lead into this with some sort of build-up lessons and exercises and steps, you're going to come up with, as a group, an idea for an original, low-budget, independent movie. I'm not asking you to produce a movie. I'm just asking you to put together an idea, a cool idea for an original, low-budget movie, and you're going to be pitching the idea to maybe some investors, people who might want to provide financial support. If you look at like some really cool artsy movies, art movies, or a lot of independent movies, they're often on low budgets, maybe a few thousand, tens of thousands of dollars, less than $100,000 US, for example. Look at a few interesting examples. I recently watched a few interesting low-budget sci-fi films, science fiction sci-fi, which are pretty famous, pretty well known, very unusual. So we'll talk about video pitches and some basic aspects of making videos. I like to make videos like this one, and I'm kind of a small-time, minor YouTuber. I don't put out much. I don't have many subscribers. That's okay. I'm just doing it for fun and for convenience. My teaching materials I put on YouTube, and that's another reason why I have an interest in this. And it's kind of a good skill to learn for, you know, your own hobby or career you go into. Anyway, from talking about genres and TV and film, I think it'll be good for many of you who are English majors, and some of you are interested in literature as English majors. And this is just something you can learn to have an intelligent conversation with, you know, in English. Having intelligent conversation about movies and TV shows and writing and literature and cool things like that. And as you're maybe working in an international context, I assume a lot of you are going to maybe work in an international setting someday with an international company or school or teaching, and this is kind of helpful as a teacher or as a business person for talking to people from different cultures. Let's see, holidays here. So the main thing is Chuseok for us. And again, have video lectures right before Chuseok. I have to update the syllabus recently because the university made a change to the schedule. They changed kind of the December schedule a little bit, I think. It's another reason I'm having to revise the syllabus, and I'll try to put it up in the portal or at least in the LMS and on my website. If you have any questions about any of this, ask me next class session. If we do a Zoom, whenever we start the Zoom sessions, hopefully next time, next class day. Grading. So we've got minor assignments. Probably going to have you do a minor video assignment most weeks, I think, and I will be pretty lenient or flexible about grading those. A lot of minor assignments I grade on a 10-point scale, and I grade mainly on effort. So I'm not, I mean, you're learning English, so I'm not expecting you to be perfect or exact. You have to make mistakes in order to learn a language. So I'm interested in the effort that you demonstrate, the effort that you put into this. So the effort is what's important. I grade mainly on the effort on these minor assignments. And then for the major assignments, your midterm and final, I'll grade more on the quality and effort. So attendance and participation. I mainly grade on the attendance, and the attendance policy is here. And as long as you're participating adequately, then that should be okay. I'm kind of lenient about how well you participate as long as you try. That means you should try to talk in English. When I say, hey, talk to your classmates about this, you should try to talk in English. You need to use English and try to talk in English. Make mistakes? That's fine. That's good if you make mistakes. You learn from making mistakes. You should. What's more important is that you try. So I mainly grade on the attendance. You can be absent up to 2 times, no penalty. More than that, those are unexcused absences that do count against you in your grade, and there's kind of a formula here that explains how it is. You can be late maybe 2 times or so, and after that penalties start to accumulate for being late too often, or if you're very, very, very late. So you have 2 free absences, and the policy is kind of explained here in the formula. There's kind of typical grading distribution here, and again I'm a bit flexible because this is a language class and it's taught in English. I do ask that you participate. If you have to be absent for some valid reason, send me some kind of official document. It can be in English, it can be in Korean or Chinese or whatever language, I don't care. As long as it's an official document, send it to me that says you were absent for a valid reason. Illness, it could be a receipt from a doctor visit, or form from a doctor. It could be photocopy of your pharmacy receipt, note from a funeral home or for an airline. You had to fly home for an emergency, for example. Family emergencies, illness, women's pink days, men's military exams, those are excused. Those are okay. Those don't count against you as long as it's not, I think, what's the policy here? As long as it's not more than 1/3 of the semester, I think. Something like that. We'll talk about, let's see, etiquette in a minute. Some other things, come to class, try to speak in English. Try to participate in English in the class session. Don't be afraid to ask me questions and ask others questions. Be respectful and kind and considerate of classmates. Engage in intelligent, adult, mature conversation about the questions that I give you. And follow appropriate Zoom etiquette. I'll talk about that in a minute. Of course, you can bring snacks or drinks, coffee, that's fine. If it's a live class, I allow that. I think most professors, especially foreign professors, are fine with that. Laptop is tablet's okay if you're actually using it for class purposes, not checking Facebook or playing was it Overwatch or something, or Angry Birds. Please call me Professor Lee or Dr. Lee, by the way. And there's some other stuff, academic integrity, that's kind of obvious. No cheating, you don't expect that problem here. Information about contacting me, you should read that. If there's something really urgent and you really need to contact me, you can find me in Kakao. So Kent Lee 7 is kind of my handle or my nickname across various platforms, email and SNS and internet platforms. Why 7? Well, one, I like prime numbers. Prime numbers are those numbers that can only be divided by itself and 1. So 7 can only be divided by 7 and 1. That's a prime number. Yeah, I like prime numbers. And another reason is when I was in graduate school, in those days, they just assigned you an email address. The university assigned you an email address, and so they gave me, I was assigned K-Lee7. That was my email address for many years while I was in graduate school. Then something with a dash or didn't work so well, and I think I tried to get a website with KLEE7 and it was taken, so I went with Kent Lee 7, and that was free. So when I signed for Gmail or when I tried to get a website, usually I could get Kent Lee 7. And so I've just been using it across the internet. So Kent Lee 7, so search for Kent Lee 7 on Kakao Talk if you need to text me something urgent. If it's really urgent, Kakao is usually okay. I try to answer texts and emails. Email's the best way to contact me, by the way. I try to, of course I have a little boy, he's 6, Western age. He's very active, and so sometimes in the evening or weekends I'm having to take care of him, and I might not be able to answer right away, but I try to answer as best I can. Especially Gmail, so I can check on my phone. So contact information and some other important notes about email and how email works that you should know is in here. Zoom etiquette, I should follow Zoom etiquette. I think you've gotten some information from the university about Zoom etiquette. So basically, come to class, enter the class session about 5 to 10 minutes before class officially starts. So be there, be ready. Enter with your video on, but your audio, your sound muted or turned off. Again, I haven't used Zoom for teaching much before, so I'm going to try to get the settings. I may have to play with the settings so that everything works right. But anyway, come in with your sound off and then turn it on when you need to say something, when you need to contribute to the class discussion or ask me a question. And of course, when you go into your breakout rooms, your group Zoom sessions, I'll send you to these breakout rooms or these group sessions, and of course you should turn on your sound so you can talk to each other. Be respectful in the way you talk to each other, mature, just basic etiquette or manners. Come, of course, appropriately dressed. Last semester, some students did their final presentations in their pajamas. Not a good idea. It shows you're not really taking it seriously. If you just got up and you really don't have time to change, okay, I mean, it's better, you should put on regular clothes. Pajamas only if it's just like you really don't have time. Pajamas are not really a good idea, but at least it's better than your underwear or wearing your Batman costume or your Cinderella costume, I guess. But, okay, just dress normally. And respectful. You can stay on mute. Because you're not allowed to record the whole Zoom session or the Zoom session with me. You're not allowed to record that and share it. Although, of course, you can record each other when I say go to your breakout rooms and discuss this. And especially if it's going to be for an assignment, for a minor assignment, yes, you can record that. You can record your group sessions. But the whole class session, you're not allowed to record and share it. I don't think I will record the class sessions unless I, for some reason, might need to for students who are gone. If I were to do that, I'm not going to put it on YouTube unless I cut out you, the students. If I do record Zoom sessions, I'm going to keep it private. And I would probably cut out whatever the students' image pictures or at least the pictures, but it's not likely I would post that, at least not outside the LMS. So you need to use your camera and microphone. Usually a cell phone is good enough. You can get a cheap microphone, cheap maybe webcam. Well, actually, I don't know if webcams are still a problem. If webcam is a problem, hopefully you have a laptop. Most people have laptops, and the webcams and laptops are okay. It's good enough. Another thing you can do is if you have an old cell phone lying around that you're not using, there are ways to turn an old cell phone into an extra camera for your sort of a webcam. You can look that up online on your own. There are different ways to do that. Attendance. I might call, the roll or roster, the list of all the students. Sometimes, more often, I will have the Zoom chat open and ask that you just, when you come into the Zoom session, into the classroom, just put your name and your student ID there, and I'll download that later as a record of your attendance. So sign in through the Zoom chat. As soon as you come into the class, head to the chat box, put in your name and your student ID number. And by the way, for names, you can, on anything in my class, you can write your names in Hangul. It's just easier. Romanization or Latin spelling of Korean names or Chinese names, especially Korean names, doesn't really make much sense to me. I prefer the Hangul, it's easier. Okay, the next bit I'll talk about a few tech tips and also introduce myself.